and brake before the yellow buckets, which represent a brick wall.
What is that?
You've got to try and stop it before the yellow ones, Dale. Yeah. Hey, wait, just park for a minute now. I'll give you another go at something in a minute.
Can't even see that far. We're going into the unknown.
You only half did that time, aren't you? You know, it only sort of came through about there that time. Okay, just park it for me for now, thanks.
Yeah, it was fun. It was good. It was, I'm dead, technically, but, you know, we can get over that. Just go to third, don't bother going fourth. Push it down. You've got to push it down, you're in fourth. No, here. Yeah, no. I hate that. Check it later. You guys nothing. That was pathetic.
Go on, have a real go.
When he came home, I inquired at the hospital as to whether he'd be okay, was there to be rehabilitation, and they just sort of said, well, you know, bring back for a visit, but he should be fine. And I couldn't really believe this because a boy that suffered so much with the impact and the surgery, and I found it all very strange. And then as soon as he was home, I then discovered that he wasn't good. His memory wasn't good, couldn't smell things, and you know, leaving things around the place, and also feeling day after day getting very depressed and in pain and uncomfortable, so it wasn't good. And I stayed home then. I was working, but we chose for me to give up work and look after him.
What happens when you're 20, 21? All you're living for is your mate's next 21st birthday party. And when that comes along every Saturday night, so-and-so's 21st tonight, you know, so off they'd all go. Now, this sort of dried up pretty quickly with Richard. And then, unfortunately, when he did get back on his feet and started going around to some parties, well, of course, the mixture of medication and alcohol just didn't mix. And again, I think that quite a few of the people who he had become involved with since the accident treated him as a big stand-up joke. And that to me was totally demoralising to a human being, to just treat them as a joke, because he's really crying out for some sort of support.
12 months after I had the accident, I had absolutely no perception of reality. I lived purely from day to day. I got involved in drugs and drinking alcohol pretty heavily, and I just lived my life the way I could. I didn't care about anyone else. You know, I got involved with people who I'm sure I would have never got involved with if I hadn't have had a car accident. And I basically was destroying myself the quickest way I possibly could, because there was no happiness in my life.
That's right. It must be the colour of the paint. It just won't stop.
You're dead!
You better park it, you're dead again. Okay, what we've got to do, brake, swerve out to the left, in between the white cones, and stop before we get to the 3 white cones up the end.
In this exercise, the white buckets represent a parked Kenworth truck.
Wonderful to watch.
We're gonna die,
All the sensitivity of a tram smash. You just buried yourself in the back of that parked Kenworth at about 60k. You got a headache?
No.
No? All right, park it. In that last exercise, did anyone find out just how fast 60k was? Yeah. And we all drive around and you think, well, gee whiz, I could hop out and walk faster than this. But when it all turns to rubbish like that, you know, 60k is seriously fast speed.
I finished an apprenticeship and I'm fortunate that I can present myself well and that I was able to get jobs. But it didn't take too long for the employer to realise that I wasn't running on the full tank of fuel. Little discrepancies would happen. And it was always the same scenario, always the same outcome. It would end up in an argument or violence. And then it was usually it. Other friends that I'd grown up with and went to school with were getting married and engaged and buying houses and doing all the normal things in life. But I wasn't, I was going the other way. I was in an elevator going down real quick.
You're tooling down here 60 kilometres an hour. That's all you're doing, guys. As we get to here, all of a sudden out of the driveway, the kiddies have been playing in Grandpa's Volkswagen, they've let the handbrake off and they've rolled out the driveway in front of you and it's just sitting there. And they're petrified with you lot coming down at them, I can tell you. What do you reckon we're going to do now, guys? Swerve. We're going to swerve, right. Okay, looking good, guys. However, entering stage right is our mate in the Kenworth. Now, I've got a little tip for you here, guys. Don't think you can slalom this. Don't think you can come up and go on the steering wheel and make it. You won't. You'll clean up the front end of the Volkswagen every single time. It's got to be 2 movements, bang out into that gap, bang back into that gap. Oh, whoops-a-daisy.
That was good.
You got one.
I'm about to hit a Kenworth truck.
Geez, you really hate this one.
Clip the Volkswagen.
Yeah, oh, it's only the front end. Oh, that was a bit wussy. Whoops. Yeah, sweet job.
With the medical people, we were just not getting the answers, the help that he needed. It just wasn't there. And it wasn't until one morning that I was listening to the radio and I heard Headway, an organisation, a support for people with acquired brain injury. And I spoke to a most wonderful lady, and from then on, she just opened doors for me. You know, she gave me a wonderful GP that specialises in head injuries.
She, I guess, basically pinpointed that, you had a frontal lobe injury and that the right frontal part of the brain is like the personality part of the brain and also coordinates your thinking and how you plan your days out and how you budget your money and everything like that. So all these skills that I wasn't performing at all well in had all of a sudden become abundantly clear to me as to why I wasn't. That you've got a brain injury. And for the first time in years and years, someone was finally telling me what I wanted to hear. I was sick of trying to tell myself that you're schizophrenic, you've got the mind of a 19-year-old. You know, things like this, you're going crazy. This is what this car accident's done to you.
The skills that you've learnt out there, who believes that that actually makes them a better driver? Yeah. You know, I guess from our point of view, we'd like to think that yes, if something went wrong, that would certainly better equip you to handle an emergency. But boy, if you're driving around relying on those skills, don't. Absolutely don't. I mean, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months' time, the V-dub rolls out in front of you. You reckon you're going to squeeze on the brakes, look to the first escape route? If it locks up, starts to slide around, you'll ease back off it, then the truck's coming the other way, you're going to look to the other escape route, ease back out of it,